Well. Here we are in November, and we've had no November rain, so I haven't been able to do my my listening to November Rain while doing choreographed dances in the November rain yet, like I've done every year since the age of 7. And hopefully it will. Hopefully it will rain soon. This is the Austin Anderson Show. Today, I don't know, do a Rambo 3 review. That's right. It's from like the 90s or 80s. I watched it over the weekend, first time in a long time. We also got gladiators in ancient Rome that were women. Who would have known? Who would have known? Epstein files, conspiracy theories. WhistlinDiesel gets arrested for tax evasion. Some insane woman said 70 is the new 50. No, it's not. In 10 years, you won't even be able to move your body. And life will be hard. I've noticed 80 is like the cutoff where you go, oh, this is an old person. This person is well beyond their years. Talk about that. Eddie Murphy versus SNL. Tim Dillon reacts to Donald Trump. Trump crashes a wedding, rambles about heaven. He is very obsessed about getting into heaven. It's really not that difficult. One just has to repent for their sins, put their faith in Jesus. But it's an ordeal for him. He thinks he's got to win a peace prize in order to shuffle through the pearly gates. Rambo 3. All right, so I don't know. My son and I, we just watched Rambo 1, Rambo 2, Rambo 3. I get it. We got 4 and 5 to watch, and we'll get there. But we've ranked them, and my son has ranked them what he thinks are the best to the least best of the 3 so far. And he's going 3 with the number 1 spot. Rambo First Blood is 2. Rambo 2 is 3. That's where we're sitting at right now. And I really, from when I was a kid, I really remember the first and the second one. I don't remember the third one too much. I do remember certain parts of it. They don't cuss very much in that one. All right, they do in the other 2. But in this one, I think maybe like an F word and something else, but relatively like no cussing. But when I was a kid, growing up in the cul-de-sac in the Millard suburbs, all right, my neighbor's dad got some editing equipment from Best Buy, which I later got in high school. And you would have to edit video. You would have to have 2 VHS tapes. Okay? So you're recording one, you're playing something on one VHS, you're watching it on the TV, and then it's being recorded onto the other one. And you can like take out music or the dialogue, the volume, whatever, and then you can put in music and audio of your choosing on that recording. And what he would do, like where the cuss words were, he took those out and then recorded them with his voice. So Rambo would be like, F that. And all of a sudden we'd hear my dad's voice going, forget that. Or like, gee golly. I don't know. It was bizarre. I wish I could remember exactly what he said because it was so weird. He put a lot of time and effort into that, let me tell you. But what he didn't edit out is the gruesome killings. Those we got to suck up like a sponge. All the gruesome ways that people were murdered and shot and killed. But yeah, dude, he's more like a superhero in the third one. Like his level of steroid use, I just want to applaud. Like, thank you for doing steroids, Sylvester Stallone. It makes action movies so much better. Nowadays, they don't do steroids like they did back in the 80s with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and stuff. It's not really a thing. Granted, like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth and, like all the people in the Marvel movies, they're doing stacks, dude. They're doing some steroids. But it's nothing like extreme. Like they just have like a good build, little definition or whatever. Rambo 3 is nuts, dude. His physique is nuts. Like many, many years ago, he released a book, all right, on his nutrition and working out and talked about how extreme his workouts would be. And then now he's like, you don't have to do it like that. Like you can just eat right, exercise, 5 days a week and get ripped. No, he doesn't talk about the amount of steroids that he consumed into his butt cheeks, though, in that book. But he said during Rambo 3, he only ate like turkey and chicken, and his gym, all of his weights were in the sands of the desert. And he would just be out there in the desert in like Afghanistan or Pakistan. It takes place in Afghanistan, but I don't know if they filmed it there or filmed it in like a more friendly, neighboring country. I'm not sure. I just know he was in the desert. And he would just eat nothing but lean meats, take steroids, and work out like a maniac. And dude, he got an award once too. I think he talked about in this book, where he got an award from like the bodybuilders, like the Mr. Universe tournament. The people that do that gave him like an honorary bodybuilding award, and he had like the lowest like recorded percentage of body fat, like at that time, something insane, like 3%. Like this dude was just skin and muscle. So he's like a superhero. At one point, he gets shot with an arrow in his stomach. Like, I don't even recall, I can't even tell you who had the bow and arrow, because this is like a straight up, gun war. And a lot of helicopter action in this. A lot of helicopters are being used, firing missiles. And somehow he gets shot with an arrow in his side of his stomach. And he pushes that arrow out. Then he takes a bullet, pops off the cap, dumps the gunpowder into the hole, and then lights it, and fire shoots out both ends, cauterizing both, like everything on the inside. And then right after that, he climbs a mountain, freehand, a mountainside rock face, and then proceeds to fight an entire Russian army and kills everyone, and some other people come to help out. But I'm like, dude, I do not remember this being so insane. Like, it really went from somewhat plausible, like definitely plausible in one, very realistic, to, whatever. It seemed more believable. 3 is like this, he would be dead. He would die so fast. But my favorite thing about all the Rambos is the Colonel. The Colonel is awesome. And everyone needs a colonel in their life following them around, saying very mysterious, provocative, fearful statement, like to put like statements that put fear into their opponents. In the first one, he'd say things like, you're Rambo, you better have enough body, you better have enough body bags and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact quotes. I got to look them up because they are my absolute favorite. And in this third one, the Colonel says, he's talking up Rambo, and the Russian's like, who is this man? Who is he, God? And he's like, the Colonel's like, God would have mercy. Rambo won't. It's just, it's simply incredible. He just has some of the best lines about how Rambo is the ultimate killing machine, and that these people that are fighting against him are going to die horrific deaths. And it is awesome. It is. But I'm watching it and I'm going, dude, yeah, none of this is insane. But who cares? If he wants to be a super, it just gets more insane. Like the fourth one, he kills like that, like an entire army again. In the fifth one, it's just like, they did it wrong though. And I'm going to do some spoilers here. Okay. And you watch that movie and he lures all these Mexican cartel members to his tunnels that he digs for fun and for therapy in Arizona. And he lures them down there and he does adult Home Alone and kills them all. And then there are actually articles about how it's adult Home Alone in the tunnels. But what they did wrong is it made it too like cartoonish and not as fun, because during the adult Home Alone killing sequence, he's playing, the song comes on, Doors, No One Gets Out Here Alive. Well, that just kind of made it feel cheesy and comical. But like in the third one, when he's fighting down in caves, which, in tunnels, it's just like a very eerie, orchestra soundtrack, like traditional film style. And it is so much better that way. So I don't know why he decided that he should play like The Doors, No One Gets Out Here Alive while he's killing people, because I personally think that it ruined it. But yeah, he goes insane and cuts a dude's heart out, pulls his heart out, Shimika Lakabu or whatever, like some Temple of Doom shit going on. And it was all right. But I'd have to say that, I've seen in all of them, I go with 4 as the best. It's just absurd. Like his head is so big in that movie. Dude, all the steroids, all the HGH from, the 80s until that point made his head a monument, dude. It looked like just something that should be, just looks like a monument, a gigantic carved head that you would see, carved out of stone and, like a gargoyle or something. And I just appreciate it. We want to watch it. We want to vicariously live through the hero and pretend that we are that. And I had a great time learning, like Google did. He was 41 years old in Rambo 3. I am 42, and it's cool to know that if I took an insane amount of steroids, like I could also look like that. But that is my review of Rambo 3. Awesome, not plausible, but the steroid use is incredible, truly incredible. So speaking about war and fighting, we have women, because I did this whole episode just talking about ancient Rome, really into it right now. And turns out there was women gladiators in ancient Rome, and they fought topless. That's what they're saying. But there are no graves. There are no graves for any women gladiators, so they're thinking that maybe they didn't fight to the death. They did not fight to the death, but that they would fight privately for emperors, other people, and they didn't wear helmets because you wanted to be able to see their beauty, and then they had them topless fighting each other. So there's a little tidbit that maybe you didn't know about ancient Rome, and now you have something to talk about at dinner parties. So the Epstein emails prove conspiracy theories are right. What is this? So there's 20,000 Epstein emails, and that the documents validate a broader truth. Power people across politics, medias, academia, and business protected and courted Epstein long after his 2008 plea. So we got something like an Eyes Wide Shut style elite club. Some people that she names: Larry Summers, I don't know who that is, and notes Trump references appear 1,600 times, Well, he was president. Yeah, and people are saying like one thing, like, did he blow Bubba? And people are like, that's Bill Clinton. Well, it was a billionaire donor, and he gave Trump a bunch of money. So that's just a figure of speech that people say. I mean, what would you do? Blow him for that? Like, come on. It's very, very easy to see that it's figurator. Figurator. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it. I can't say it this morning. Figatory. I'm not even gonna try, dude. My brain is like, dude, I'm done. My brain's like, I don't want to pronounce that word right now. And I'm like, all right, fine. So it's bipartisan, of course. They're two sides, equal sides to a coin, right? And but this is interesting. This is. I mean, I love reading leaked emails. Remember when the Sony emails leaked to WikiLeaks many moons ago? Dude, those were so fun to go through. So I'm pumped to dig more into those to kind of see what these people discuss and talk about. The ones that run the world. So Cody, WhistlinDiesel, he is arrested over a Ferrari. Like, I wanted to talk about this because I actually made a video with that dude. Probably, I don't know, 2020, 2021 or something like that. I got to find it. It's on a site, Big Iron Auctions. And what had happened is I was working for him there at the time. And Cody went to an auction, like, because around the country, there'll be these big farm auctions. And I think this one was in Illinois. And he showed up and bid and bought like this, very rare, beautiful tractor from Big Iron Auctions. And one of the owners was like, if you buy this, I'll bring down some tires for you for like a set of dualies that you can put on this tractor. And then he begged him not to destroy it. And I don't even know. I don't know if he ever ended up destroying it. I don't think that he has. I checked not too long ago and I didn't see anything. So, but he did abuse it a little bit. Like, he just took it off the trailer in one of his videos and rolled it out, and it rolled down a hill and, hit something. But that was wild, man. I went to his compound in Tennessee where he was just arrested, and he was just kind of getting settled. He had a garage built. He was moving some cars in. He took us on a ride in a side-by-side. So he's like, come on, I'll take you for a ride. And I was in the back seat recording, which you can see the video of. And I was just like, I guess, like, if I die, I die. Let's do this. And he drove like an absolute madman. Like, watch some of his videos and then ask yourself if you would get in the back of a side-by-side with him at the wheel. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people would. Very dangerous, but apparently he destroyed a Ferrari V8 Troubadour. And apparently that it's tax evasions related to that, but there haven't been, there's no conviction, it's alleged, but they showed up at his house, like 6 police, and arrested him. Very weird, waiting for the details to come out on that. But whenever he pops up, I just always follow what's going on because, I met him and hung out with him for a day, and I mean, he was very cool, very nice, very down to earth, I gotta say. Jane Seymour. This woman says 70 is the new 50, and I say lies. Okay, in the pictures of this woman and her new husband, they're old as shit. Let's just say it. Like, we got to stop saying that. I don't think that there comes a time, an age that you reach where you can't be like, age is just a number. No, yeah, dude, a number that is getting you closer and closer to your death. A number that as it progresses, year by year, you deteriorate more and more, and your skin melts off your skeletal system. So it's really not. So she said that at 74, so she's not even 70, dude. Okay, I said that in 10 years, you'll be 80 and you'll be falling to pieces, and we'll be like, that is, like, you're not going to be like 80's the new 60. Be like, no, it's not. You're wearing diapers. So at 74, she said that she's incredibly blessed dating John Zambetti, ER doc and musician, for 2+ years. Introduced by their kids after crossing paths, she literally says 70 is the new 50. And I just wanted to be on record saying, no, dude, no, I'm gonna be 50 in 8 years, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna be very upset if it's like I'm 74 years old. It's just a big difference, dude. People can tell themselves whatever they want if it helps them sleep at night as they inch closer and closer to death. And I wanted to talk about this because Eddie Murphy, because there was always that whole thing about where he hated SNL, and I really never understood why, but apparently it's because of a David Spade joke. So in a 1995 David Spade Hollywood Minute jab triggered Murphy's 2-decade Cold War with SNL. So, I mean, this really, really hurt his feelings. This cut the Murph man deep. I just came up with that nickname myself right now. I just label him Murph man. And I think that the world should adopt it, and that's what he should be called now. So take it, fly with it, spread it. The original slight, Spade calls Murphy a falling star in 95. And the comeback, Nutty Professor 96, plus later hits prove that falling star label wrong, because Eddie Murphy, was a huge hit. But for 2 decades, just because of that, called him a falling star, and he was pissed. I want to watch that doc on him, though, the Being Eddie. I mean, he is an absolute powerhouse, dude. He is an absolute stand-up powerhouse, comedy powerhouse. I mean, so much power, so much house. And I got to meet his brother, dude. His brother, before he died, he came to Omaha, and I got to hang with him. And he was a cool dude. Kind of like an intimidating presence. He was a big guy, man. He was a big dude. But, I have some stories about that, but I'm not going to share them. So, too bad. Tim Dillon reacts to Donald Trump verdicts. So, Dillon is came out on his podcast, said this is the end, and said that, it's basically over. And of course, like what I wanted to say, my screen just went completely blank. But here we go. All right, so what's interesting is this thing, Manosphere, like all these comics that are aligned with Joe Rogan, or that Joe Rogan birthed from his podcasting pelvic area. They've been titled the Manosphere, which I think is the stupidest name I have ever. I thought it was the Rogan Sphere, but now it's the Manosphere. Gosh, this world is so stupid. So he came out and said, let's look at Trump here. I do think, unfortunately, this kind of is the end. And I say unfortunately not because I care, truly, but I say unfortunately because it seems to not be doing anything good for anyone. This is the end of the Trump administration. This is the beginning of the lame duck presidency. It's obvious to everyone, even his most ardent supporters show up at the White House, like Laura Ingraham. She's kind of shocked, going, what the hell is going on? And he said that he'll spend the remainder of his second term talking about the bathroom. that he is building at the White House. He will trail off, he'll get older. He's adorned the White House in gold, and predicting that Trump's once association with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is going to suck the oxygen out of a lot of his remaining presidency. Dude, Dylan is one of the funniest comedians out, and I got to work with him too, and it was awesome. He's a funny dude. When I worked with him, dude, someone brought one of his fans, and this was a handful of years ago. I think COVID was probably still going on or winding down, and one of his fans brought two, and I have a picture of this. I should have just kept the painting, but it was too controversial. Like, I could never, like, it would have to be like hidden, and I would have to pull it out. It's nothing that you could ever hang up anywhere. This fan brought him a painting on a canvas of Tim Dillon and Jeffrey Epstein together as friends, burning in the fire of hell, in the flames of hell. So fire all around, and then him and Jeffrey Epstein are in the photo. And dude, he, you know, most people, like, to their fans are like gracious, like, oh man, thank you so much. Thank you for putting time into this. But dude, Dylan was not. He goes, what the hell is this? He goes, dude, I can't take this. He goes, what am I going to do with this? He's like, I can't have this. I can't hang this up. He's like, I don't want this. That's what he's saying to this dude that painted this painting, because it was insane. He was right. And then he's like, what am I going to do? Get on a plane with this? He's like, no. He's like, I don't want. He's like, thank you, but no. But you kind of like took it and threw it in the green room. And and then it got thrown away, dude. I should have kept it, but I didn't. But I do have a picture of it. Stand-up comedy is weird right now. It's in a weird space, dude. Like, I mean, I started doing stand-up in 2001, and it was a beautiful time. It was a beautiful time, dude. You got so much stage time. Like, not everyone, like, if you were good, and not everyone on earth was trying to be a stand-up comedian, which seems to be what the internet has birthed. Almost all the comedy clubs were open from Wednesday to Sunday, with 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. So you got to go to a city, dude, and do freaking 2, 4, 6, 7 shows. Some shows, like at the Funny Bone in Columbus, Ohio, had 3 shows on Saturday night. 3 shows, dude, and they were packed. And I don't know if they're still doing that or not. Maybe it just depends on who's coming through. But dude, that was even for just people that weren't like completely nationally known, but still were a draw because they'd come through the clubs on a regular basis, and people would just come out and see particular comedians. But now, dude, and not only that, like, corporate events and everything paid so well, and it just keeps going down, like what people are willing to pay, because the market is so oversaturated with people that want to be comedians that really shouldn't, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot, like, dude, you really, when you do stand-up, you really have to be, like, likable, like, first. You just, when someone first takes the stage, there just has to be, like, an immediate likability about them. And that's one of the important key ingredients. So you have that, then you have like stage presence, and then just like being like naturally funny is a big part of it too. And there's just a lot of comics now that they're good writers. They've figured out how to write like good jokes. So like their jokes are funny, but they really don't have that instant likability, and they don't have and they're just not naturally funny. So the only thing that's funny is about them is what they are saying. and the punchline. But it's like you need more ingredients than that. And then they just say that they'll do like any gig, and then they lowball their price. They're willing to do it for absolutely nothing. And it's a freaking disservice, man. I mean, I just got asked, there's people that called me that wanted me to do a corporate for all their members to this organization that people belong to. And, someone had reached out and they're like, hey, these people saw you at some point. They really want to book you for their corporate. Like, what should I tell them? I'm like, just tell them to give me a call. And I told them how much. They're like, how much would you charge? And I told them, they're like, wow, we're nowhere near that. And then they proceed to tell me, they're like, when we have a band or something like that, we pay the entire band like $350. $350, dude, for 3 hours. I would never be in a band unless I was like from like 16 years old to like maybe 25. I would just do it for kicks and for free drinks and because it would be fun. You know what I mean? Like, but anything past that, hell no, dude. I'm not going to be in like a 4 or 5 piece band and then split $350 hauling all of your equipment, setting up. That is insane, dude. That is a slap in the face as far as I'm concerned. So then they were going, I was like, all right, well, maybe I can do it. Like, I don't really want to tie up that date with this show because, like, I want to do a show that pays really well, like $1,000 or more. And so I was just kind of like curious where they were at. I'm like, well, where were you at? So when she's telling me about the band, she's like, so even if like I would have a hard time convincing them to do like $300 for just a single performer comedian. I'm like, $300, dude. I wasn't even, dude, like how many years ago would it have been? It would have been, 15 years ago. For this same gig, dude, I would have been paid like $750. And they're saying that they would have a hard time saying $300. Is it? And I'm like, all right, dude, go get a shit comedian who can't do clean material because they don't want to like, jeopardize their art and have a suck show, man. Have a suck show. Dude, it's hard to be clean as a comedian. All right, it's just go watch any show. It's all dick jokes, sex jokes, dick jokes, all of it. It's just the easy stuff that you can say that just people naturally laugh at. That's what it is. So you really got to sit down. You got to like think and put stuff together and word things properly if you're gonna have a clean set, dude. And it takes time. And they want to reward my years' experience and my time putting together these shows that anyone can enjoy, that will make them look good, make their members feel good or their employees feel good, and then pay pennies, dude. Pennies. And it's because they've been having shows with comics that haven't been doing it for very long and are not very strong and are willing to do this for $200. I would rather not do it. That's why I turn down so many shows. So many shows because in going to comedy clubs too, because I'm like, I'm not traveling all the way there for that price. I don't care, dude. I've put in my work. I've paid my dues on stage, learning like who I am on stage, my voice, my cadence, my timing, everything, like my delivery, all that. Like it's there. But you got to then stand up all the time just so it's sharp so you can just be like boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like you got to practice like anything, like a musician, athlete, weightlifter, it doesn't matter. But dude, it's just a shame. And it is like, I don't know, stand up is just, it's in a weird spot. And I don't even think that many like veteran, like really good, talented comedians are enjoying it all that much. Like if you look online, like The YouTube channels like Podcast Cringe, Too Lazy to Try, and all these that like cover like almost like the news of like stand-up comedy and all the drama, and they'll be like, two bears in one cave is over, or like Bert Kreischer's delusional, the downward spiral, like all this shit. Like that content is more popular than comedy itself. Go pull up the like Tim Dillon YouTube channel, or just like a number of well-known stand-up comics. You do like Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast on YouTube. Check that out. And then go to like Too Lazy to Try or Podcast Cringe, and you'll see they have like 100, 200,000 more views per video than the actual comedians themselves. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know how to say about it. Like, is it a conspiracy? And it's insane because like all these channels that are critiquing and making videos about the stand-up comedy world, they all like release like the same videos on the same topic. So I don't know if one of them goes first and they're like, then the other ones are like, oh yeah, I'll make a video about that too. Or if it's like a coordinated thing where they're like, all right, let's do this. And they're just trying to take down the manosphere. I mean, and I hate that we have to call it that. That's the name, or the Rogan sphere, like all that group of comics, because all those videos are just really shitting on them and basically trying to destroy their careers. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the Chinese. Is it the communists? Who is it? Who's behind this network? We need some doxing. It's a hell of a time to be alive, let me tell you. Hell of a time to be alive. And I just don't know if I like it, dude. I mean, and then now comedy clubs, dude, almost all the comedy clubs, they're really only open Friday and Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then most of the time, like a lot of shows I've been doing at comedy clubs, they're having one show on Friday, an early show. Like, that's insane to me. It's because we're drowning in content. We're flooded in content. I mean, I'm making content right now. I don't even know if I want to be. But I am, because I enjoy doing stand-up, and if this is going to benefit me doing it, then so be it. Only time will tell. But it's sad, really. It does. It makes me sad. It used to be just so awesome, and it was like only the people that really, really wanted to do stand-up, that actually really loved it, did it. Prior to YouTube, really, and like Facebook and all that stuff taking off. Throughout 2000 to 2010. And then things started to change. Like, you had to really just love stand-up and want to do it, because there was you couldn't really do market bar shows. I actually called a lot of bars, like in my early 20s, in Omaha, like being like, hey, can I do a stand-up show? No one had even heard of such a thing. There was nowhere to market it yet. MySpace wasn't even out yet. I'm like, no, we really just do bands. But now it's like, yeah, with the internet and running ads or promotion, you can call up any bar and do a show. So it's a lot easier than having to, when I started, drive down, because there weren't an open mic at the Funny Bone in Omaha, like hardly ever. So I would drive down to Kansas City on Monday nights. All right. 2.5, 3 hours in my mom's minivan with a couple friends to do 5 minutes at an open mic. And some of the people that were there, Chris Porter, Nikki Glazer, and those are the two off the top of my head. And it was awesome. Like, you had to make like an insane effort to do it. And then when I got back, I'm like, I don't want to keep having to go there. Like, I want to go somewhere where I can get up all the time. So I moved to California, to LA, so I could hit up all the clubs there and do stand-up as much as possible. And there they would do like bar shows. Like, I would do stand-up at 2 a.m. at an internet cafe in front of a couple homeless people and some transvestites, dude. Like, But now you can just be like, I'm a comedian, put on a bar show, take a picture, put it in my profile photo. And what I don't know what's coming out of that, because all these comedy clubs, yeah, they're open Thursday through Saturday, and then like a lot of their shows, they're doing like other like different shows to help pay the rent, like drag shows or a lot of people that aren't even stand-up comics but just want to cash in on their audience, and they're got a following on TikTok. They'll come through for one night. Like a year ago, I opened for some dude that blew up and had like a huge following on Vine, and he's still making money off of that, and it's not even around anymore. So what's my point in all this? I don't know. I'm workshopping. I'm working through it because I don't know where it's going to go, or if it's going to improve, or what kind of stand-up comedians we're going to end up with in this new, brave new world that is the internet. Let's land this plane on Trump crashes wedding, rambles about getting into heaven. So Trump wandered into a Mar-a-Lago wedding and went on a heaven riff, spotting Christian radio host Eric Metaxas. And jokingly, he is key into getting in. The couple reportedly has conservative ties. Yeah. They, come on. I like how I get everything like set up to like go, and then my phone just doesn't work. Doesn't work. Usually I do paper, dude. I'll print it off. Why? Because I'm freaking old school. I'm nostalgic. That's why. Kind of wanted to see what he said here. So he saw it. He saw Eric. He said, I want to talk to him about getting into heaven, but not here, not here. Eric shared the clip to social media where he said that his friend's wedding wasn't the place for that kind of conversation. I laughed and told him, I'd really like to talk to you about that, but another time. So like he's realizing he's at the end of his life and he's going to die soon and he wants to go to heaven. And it's a really short conversation, really. But, but it's just weird, dude. He talks about it. He talks about it all the time. All the time. Trump giving into heaven updates. As well, we'll have to title this. And, yeah, dude, on that note, this is Austin Anderson's show. This one's going out a little later than 10 today. I actually didn't even get to do a show on Friday, man. Too much going on with selling my house and stuff. I just could not. I got up at like 5:30 a.m. and I just went hard till the nighttime. So, there absolutely wasn't an opportunity, which was kind of crazy. Busy day, but I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Thanks for listening.